3 months after the Battle of Earth, Marcus stood in the newly constructed diplomatic facility orbiting at the edge of human space. The station served as neutral ground where representatives from dozens of galactic civilizations could meet to establish new relationships based on mutual respect rather than conquest. The Galactic Council had undergone dramatic changes following Earth's decisive victory. Species that had submitted to alien rule for centuries began questioning their subjugation when they learned that humans had successfully resisted the supposedly invincible Council fleet. Rebellion sparked across multiple star systems as oppressed civilizations demanded the same independence that Earth had achieved. Ambassador Elena Rodriguez represented humanity in the ongoing negotiations. Her diplomatic skills complemented by the implicit threat of Earth's revealed military capabilities. The recording of the battle had spread throughout galactic civilization, ensuring that no species would underestimate human determination again. The Altarian delegation has formally requested military assistance in establishing their own defensive network, she reported to Marcus as they reviewed the day's diplomatic progress. They're offering significant technological exchange in return for shadow platform designs. Marcus nodded thoughtfully as he studied the requests. Approved, but ensure they understand the technology comes with responsibilities. These weapons can protect freedom or enable tyranny, depending on who controls them. Through the station's observation deck, they could see ships from dozens of different civilizations conducting peaceful trade and cultural exchange. The transformation from a galaxy ruled by fear to one embracing cooperation had happened faster than anyone had anticipated. Admiral Thexmore, now serving as a liaison between the Reformed Council and Earth's government, approached with his daily briefing. His attitude toward humans had changed dramatically after witnessing their capabilities firsthand. Commander Marcus, we've received confirmation that the hegemony forces have withdrawn from the Rigel sector, he reported. The threat of shadow platform intervention convinced them to abandon their conquest attempt. The former admiral had become one of Earth's most valuable allies, his intimate knowledge of galactic military capabilities helping humanity navigate the complex political landscape that emerged after their victory. His transformation from enemy commander to trusted advisor exemplified the broader changes occurring throughout the galaxy. Dr. Chen materialized as a hologram from her deep space research facility, where teams of human and alien scientists work together to advance defensive technologies. Marcus, the latest test results are remarkable. Combining human adaptive strategies with Krillian, computational matrices has produced targeting systems that exceed our original designs by 300%. The cooperative research projects had yielded benefits that exceeded anything either species could have achieved alone. Human creativity and adaptability merged with alien technological sophistication to create innovations that redefined what was possible in both warfare and peaceful exploration. Captain Vasquez, now commanding Earth's expanded deep space fleet, transmitted her report from the Vega system where human ships conducted joint patrols with former enemies. Guardian, the integration training is proceeding ahead of schedule. Galactic Council species are adapting well to our tactical doctrines. The sight of human and alien crews working together aboard the same vessels would have been unimaginable months before. Now it represented the foundation of a new galactic order based on cooperation rather than domination. Marcus received a priority transmission from Earth's surface, where President Martinez was addressing the Planetary Council about humanity's expanding role in galactic affairs. Citizens of Earth, our victory has created opportunities we never imagined. We stand at the threshold of an age where human values of freedom and dignity can spread to civilizations throughout the galaxy. The transformation wasn't limited to military and political relationships. Cultural exchange programs brought alien artists, philosophers, and scientists to Earth, while human explorers ventured to worlds that had been closed to outsiders for millennia. The galaxy was becoming smaller and more interconnected with each passing day. Ambassador Zekthara, now reformed and working to democratize his own empire, joined the meeting to discuss the latest developments. Commander, the Voidian Assembly has voted to restructure our government along the democratic principles you suggested. The transition is proceeding smoothly. His transformation from arrogant conqueror to advocate for representative government demonstrated the profound impact that Earth's example had created throughout galactic civilization. Species that had accepted authoritarian rule for generations were discovering the power of self-determination. Guardian, Dr. Chen continued her briefing. Our deep space monitoring stations are detecting increased activity in the galactic core regions. Species we've never encountered are beginning to take notice of recent changes in this sector. Marcus studied the intelligence reports with interest. Earth's victory had created ripple effects that extended far beyond local space, attracting attention from civilizations that had remained isolated for millennia. Some would prove friendly, others might represent new threats, but humanity was now prepared for whatever challenges emerged. Establish long-range diplomatic protocols, he decided. If new species want to make contact, they'll find us ready to negotiate as equals rather than subjects. The principles that had guided Earth's resistance to conquest now shaped humanity's approach to galactic leadership. Power would be shared rather than hoarded, knowledge would be exchanged rather than restricted, and conflicts would be resolved through negotiation rather than warfare. As the day's meetings concluded, Marcus walked to the station's highest observation deck, where he could see the vast expanse of space that humanity now helped to protect. Stars that had once represented unknown threats now harbored allies and friends who shared Earth's commitment to freedom. Status report on Project Sanctuary, he requested from the facility's central computer. Phase 1 construction. Complete at all 17 sites, the AI responded. Defensive networks established around newly liberated worlds. Human technical advisors report successful integration with local military forces. The Shadow platform technology was spreading throughout the galaxy, but under careful human supervision to ensure it served protection rather than aggression. Each installation required extensive training and moral education to prevent the weapons from being misused. 3,000 years earlier, Marcus had accepted genetic modification and near immortality to protect humanity against threats from beyond the stars. He had awakened to find Earth facing exactly the kind of enemy he had been created to defeat, and his victory had exceeded even his most optimistic projections. Now he faced a different challenge, helping humanity adapt to its role as a galactic power while maintaining the values that had made their victory possible. The warrior who had once fought alone against impossible odds was now building alliances that would protect countless worlds. Guardian to all stations, he transmitted to the network of human facilities now spread across local space. Maintain vigilant watch, but remember that our greatest weapon has always been the willingness to help others achieve the freedom we fought to preserve. The old legends spoke of a time when humanity stood alone against the darkness between the stars. Those days were ending as Earth's children took their place among the galaxy's guardians, ensuring that no world would face conquest without allies ready to answer their call for help. The galaxy had learned that humans were indeed warriors, but they were warriors who fought for justice rather than conquest, protection rather than domination. It was a lesson that would echo through the stars for generations to come, carried by the descendants of a species that had refused to surrender when the impossible odds demanded it. Marcus smiled as he watched ships from dozens of worlds conducting peaceful business in what had once been empty space. The old one had walked again, and his footsteps had changed the galaxy forever. Marcus reached the bridge access corridor as the first alien ships began their retreat into faster-than-light space. His armor's sensors detected 23 life forms beyond the reinforced blast doors, including the distinctive biosignatures of the fleet's senior command staff. These were the individuals whose knowledge could determine humanity's future security. Bridge security, intruder approaching primary access, announced the ship's automated defense system. All personnel prepare for emergency evacuation protocols. But Admiral Thexmore refused to abandon his command, despite the tactical disaster unfolding around him. Seal all bridge entrances. Activate internal defense turrets. If this human wants our command center, he'll have to fight for every meter. The blast doors that protected the bridge had been designed to withstand direct hits from ship-killer weapons. Marcus studied their construction through his armor's analysis systems, noting the exotic materials and energy fields that created multiple layers of protection. A conventional assault would require heavy weapons that could damage the ship's structural integrity. Instead, Marcus activated one of his armor's most advanced capabilities. The quantum phase generator allowed him to exist partially outside normal space-time for brief periods, effectively making him intangible to conventional matter. The technology was incredibly dangerous. Prolonged use could trap him permanently in dimensional space, but it provided access to areas that were otherwise impossible to reach. The sensation of phase shifting was unlike anything in normal human experience. Reality became fluid as Marcus stepped through the blast door, his consciousness existing simultaneously in multiple dimensional states. For a few terrifying seconds, he could see infinite variations of the current moment stretching across parallel timelines. Then, he materialized on the bridge, directly behind the command staff who were staring at blast doors that showed no signs of breach. "Impossible," whispered Ambassador Zekathara as he turned to find a human warrior standing in the middle of their supposedly secure command center. "The doors are sealed. Our sensors detected no intrusion." Marcus deactivated his helmet, revealing a face that appeared human but carried the subtle signs of genetic modification. His eyes held an intelligence and determination that seemed to pierce through the alien's assumptions about human capability. "Gentlemen, I suggest you remain calm," he said in perfect galactic standard, his enhanced linguistic systems having analyzed their language from intercepted communications. "I'm here to discuss terms for your survival." Admiral Thexmore reached for his sidearm, but Marcus moved faster than the alien's nervous system could process. One moment the Admiral was drawing his weapon, the next he found himself disarmed and pinned against his command chair by a grip that felt like a mechanical vice. "I said remain calm," Marcus repeated, releasing the Admiral but keeping the confiscated weapon. "You're going to answer some questions about Galactic Council military capabilities and strategic intentions. In exchange, you and your crew will be allowed to leave this system alive." Through the bridge's main display, they could see the continuing destruction of their fleet as human forces pressed their advantage. The shadow platforms had eliminated over 60% of the alien vessels, while the surviving ships struggled to retreat in good order. "You cannot possibly understand the forces you're challenging," Ambassador Zekathara said, his voice carrying diplomatic authority despite their desperate situation. "The Galactic Council represents 47 star systems and hundreds of billions of citizens. Earth's victory here will only delay inevitable conquest." Marcus smiled at the familiar bluster. Every alien empire he had encountered made similar claims about their invincibility, right up until the moment their assumptions about human weakness proved fatally incorrect. "Ambassador, your council has conquered over 200 worlds using intimidation and overwhelming force," he replied. "None of those worlds possessed advanced defensive capabilities or warrior traditions. Earth is different." "Different how?" Admiral Thexmore demanded. "Your species barely achieved interstellar travel. Your military technology is centuries behind ours. Today's victory was achieved through treachery and weapons we couldn't detect." "Today's victory was achieved through preparation and understanding," Marcus corrected. "Humanity has faced alien invasions before. We learned from each encounter, improved our capabilities, and prepared for larger threats. Your council represents exactly the kind of expansionist empire we've been expecting." The bridge crew exchanged worried glances as the implications of Marcus's words became clear. If Earth had been preparing for galactic-scale warfare, their intelligence about human capabilities was completely wrong. "Guardian, we're receiving priority communications from the surviving enemy fleet." Dr. Chen's voice came through his armor's quantum link. "They're requesting negotiations for withdrawal." "Tell them to maintain position at Rally Point 7, Marcus replied. "I'll be joining them shortly with representatives of their command staff." Meanwhile, throughout the solar system, human forces were securing their stunning victory. The shadow platforms had revealed themselves to be far more than defensive installations. They represented a technological achievement that placed Earth among the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. "Captain," Vasquez stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching alien ships flee toward the outer system, while human vessels moved to secure disabled enemy craft. "Communications, patch me through to Earth Defense Command. I need confirmation of our orders regarding prisoners." "Captain, we're receiving updated tactical information from an unknown source," her communications officer reported. "Detailed specifications on alien technology, crew requirements, and strategic capabilities. This intelligence is incredible." The interrogation aboard the Eternal Conquest was providing Earth's military with information that would reshape humanity's understanding of galactic politics. Marcus's enhanced cognitive abilities allowed him to process the aliens' responses, while simultaneously cross-referencing their claims against data patterns that revealed deception. Admiral, your fleet composition suggests this was intended as a demonstration rather than serious conquest attempt, Marcus observed. Where are your primary battle fleets? Admiral Thexmore's expression revealed that Marcus had identified a crucial truth. The Council maintains reserve forces throughout our territory. This expedition was intended to intimidate Earth into submission without requiring significant military commitment, which means you're not prepared for extended warfare against an opponent capable of destroying your forces, Marcus continued. Your strategic doctrine assumes quick victories against inferior enemies. You've never faced prolonged resistance. Ambassador Zekthara realized they were revealing critical intelligence to an enemy who understood military strategy far better than any human should. Admiral, say nothing more. This interrogation violates every principle of military conduct. Ambassador, you invaded our space with intent to conquer our world, Marcus replied calmly. Military conduct becomes irrelevant when facing extinction. However, I'm prepared to offer reasonable terms for your withdrawal. The terms Marcus proposed were simple but revolutionary. The Galactic Council would acknowledge Earth's sovereignty and independence, establish formal diplomatic relations based on equality rather than subjugation, and provide technological exchange agreements that would benefit both civilizations. Impossible, Admiral Thexmore responded immediately. The Council has never recognized primitive species as equals. Our entire governmental structure is based on hierarchical relationships between advanced and lesser civilizations. Then your governmental structure needs to evolve, Marcus said, because Earth will not submit to foreign rule under any circumstances. Today's battle demonstrated that we possess both the capability and determination to resist conquest indefinitely. Through the bridge's communication systems, they could hear reports from throughout the alien fleet describing the extent of their defeat. Ships that had seemed invincible hours before were now requesting rescue operations and emergency medical assistance. Marcus allowed the reports to continue for several minutes, ensuring that the bridge crew understood the completeness of their tactical failure. Then he activated his armor's holographic projector, displaying a three-dimensional map of local space that showed strategic information the aliens had never seen. Gentlemen, this display shows the true extent of Earth's defensive network, he announced. What you encountered today represents approximately 15% of our actual military capability. The revelation stunned the alien officers into silence as they realized the implications. If humanity possessed defensive systems throughout local space that their sensors couldn't detect, Earth might be capable of projecting military force far beyond their home system. Guardian to Shadow Control, Marcus transmitted. Prepare diplomatic package for transmission to Galactic Council Authority. Include tactical recordings of today's engagement and preliminary terms for non-aggression treaty. The final phase of humanity's victory was about to begin, and it would determine whether Earth's triumph led to lasting peace or galactic war. The first wave of alien security forces rounded the corner toward the computer core with weapons drawn, expecting to find a cornered intruder. Instead, they found empty corridor space and the subtle hum of advanced technology that shouldn't have existed on their own ship. Marcus struck from above, having used his armor's adaptive camouflage to blend with the ceiling structure. His enhanced physiology allowed him to move with impossible speed and precision, disabling each opponent with techniques that left them unconscious but alive. Within seconds, 12 highly trained alien warriors lay motionless while Marcus continued deeper into the ship. All units, intruder has bypassed Security Team Alpha, reported the ship's tactical coordinator. Target is moving toward the primary power core. Authorize use of heavy weapons. Admiral Thexmore felt a chill of genuine fear as he realized the implications. Negative on heavy weapons. If he reaches the power core, any explosive damage could trigger a cascade failure. This ship carries enough energy to vaporize everything within 1,000 kilometers. Marcus had counted on exactly that response. The alien's own advanced technology created vulnerabilities that a skilled operator could exploit. His enhanced intellect had already identified 17 different ways to cause critical system failures that would cripple the flagship without necessarily destroying it. Outside the ship, the battle continued to evolve as the Galactic Council fleet attempted to adapt to humanity's unexpected capabilities. The shadow platforms had revealed themselves to devastating effect, but their positions were now known and vulnerable to concentrated return fire. Commander Vexkala of the 7th Battle Squadron managed to rally 3 of his remaining cruisers into an attack formation, targeting the nearest human platform. Focus all fire on grid reference 77 Alpha. Sustained bombardment until target is destroyed. The combined firepower of 3 alien cruisers finally overwhelmed the platform's defensive systems, scoring humanity's first loss in the engagement. But the victory came at enormous cost. 2 of the attacking ships had suffered critical damage from the platform's return fire, and their formations remained scattered throughout the outer system. Captain Vasquez watched the tactical display aboard the Defiance as the true scope of Earth's defensive capabilities became apparent. Communications, patch me through to Fleet Command. I need to understand what's happening out here. Captain, we're receiving tactical updates from an unknown source, her communications officer reported. Detailed enemy fleet positions, ship specifications, and recommended attack vectors. The data is incredibly precise. The information Marcus had stolen from the alien flagship was already flowing through Earth's command network, providing human forces with intelligence advantages they had never possessed. For the first time in the battle, Captain Vasquez could see weaknesses in the enemy formation that her ships might actually exploit. All ships, new orders incoming, she announced to the human fleet. We're being vectored towards specific targets. Stay in formation and prepare for close engagement. Deep inside the Eternal Conquest, Marcus reached the ship's primary power core, a massive chamber containing energy systems that could power a small city. His armor's sensors analyzed the alien technology with interest, identifying design principles that could advance human engineering by centuries. Intruder has reached the power core, reported the ship's chief engineer. All attempts to seal the compartment have failed. He's somehow overriding our security protocols faster than we can implement them. What the aliens didn't understand was that Marcus wasn't trying to destroy their ship. His mission required capturing key personnel alive and extracting additional intelligence that could only be obtained through direct interrogation. The power core gave him leverage over the entire vessel and its crew. Admiral Thexmore, Marcus spoke through the ship's communication system, his voice carrying clearly to the bridge. This is Commander Marcus of Earth Defense Forces. Your ship is now under my control. Order your fleet to withdraw from Earth space immediately. The bridge crew stared at their displays in shock as external sensors confirmed the impossible claim. The intruder had somehow gained access to primary ship systems and was systematically locking out their control interfaces. This is impossible, Ambassador Zekthara snarled. No single warrior could capture a dreadnought-class vessel. Our ship carries a crew of over 10,000. Your crew is irrelevant, Marcus replied calmly. I'm not here to fight soldiers. I'm here to eliminate command authority and demonstrate that human determination exceeds Galactic Council technology. You have 60 seconds to issue withdrawal orders. Admiral Thexmore found himself facing an impossible decision. His military training demanded that he never surrender to inferior forces, but the tactical situation had shifted beyond all recognition. The human defensive capabilities far exceeded their intelligence estimates, and a single enemy warrior had somehow neutralized their flagship. Sir, we're receiving distress signals from throughout the fleet, his tactical officer reported. Multiple ships report critical system failures. Our command network is collapsing. The viruses Marcus had introduced during his computer core infiltration were spreading through the alien communication grid, creating cascading failures that disrupted fleet coordination. Ships that had operated as a unified force were now isolated and vulnerable to concentrated attack. Meanwhile, Earth's human fleet was beginning its coordinated assault on specific targets identified through the stolen intelligence data. The battleship Defiance led a formation of 6 ships against a damaged alien cruiser, their combined firepower finally sufficient to threaten enemy vessels. Target their shield generators, Captain Vasquez ordered as her ships closed to effective range. All weapons, sustained fire. For the first time in the battle, human weapons began inflicting significant damage on Galactic Council ships. The psychological impact was enormous. Species throughout the alien fleet had never seen their supposedly invincible vessels damaged by primitive opponents. Back aboard the Eternal Conquest, Marcus made his way toward the bridge through corridors now patrolled by increasingly desperate security teams. His armor's stealth capabilities allowed him to avoid most encounters, while his enhanced combat reflexes dealt efficiently with those he couldn't evade. "Guardian to Shadow Control," he transmitted as he approached the bridge section. "Primary objective nearly complete. Prepare extraction protocols." Dr. Chen's voice carried relief and pride through the quantum link. "Outstanding work, Marcus." "The alien fleet is in full retreat. Multiple ships have already jumped to faster than light speeds." "Not all of them," Marcus replied, studying tactical data through his armor's interface. "Approximately 30% of their forces remain in the system. They're regrouping around a heavy battleship in the outer asteroid belt." The information revealed that while humanity had achieved stunning tactical success, the battle wasn't over. The surviving alien forces were attempting to consolidate under new leadership, and their remaining ships still possessed enough firepower to threaten Earth if they managed to coordinate an effective counterattack. "Admiral, we must withdraw immediately," urged Commander Vex Kala through emergency communications. "The humans have capabilities we never anticipated. Our fleet is being systematically destroyed." Admiral Thexmore stared at his tactical displays, watching centuries of Galactic Council military doctrine crumble under assault from opponents who shouldn't have posed any threat. The idea of retreat was almost incomprehensible, but the alternative appeared to be complete annihilation. "All remaining ships, withdraw to Rally Point 7, he finally ordered. "We regroup and reassess. This engagement is terminated." But Marcus had different plans for the alien leadership. Phase 3 of his operation required capturing key personnel who could provide intelligence about Galactic Council military capabilities and strategic intentions. The knowledge would be crucial for protecting Earth against future invasion attempts. As alien ships throughout the system began jumping to faster than light speeds, Marcus prepared for the final phase of his assault on the flagship. The real war for Earth's future was just beginning. The moment of truth arrived as Admiral Thexmore raised his scaled hand to signal the attack. "All ships open fire. Destroy the human fleet." Thousands of energy beams and projectile weapons erupted from the Galactic Council fleet, creating a wall of destruction that raced toward Earth's defensive formation. The firepower unleashed in those first seconds could have sterilized the surface of a small planet, representing the combined military might of 47 star systems. Captain Vasquez watched the incoming barrage on her tactical display, knowing that her ship and crew had perhaps minutes left to live. "All hands brace for impact. It's been an honor serving with you." But Marcus had timed his intervention perfectly. Just as the alien weapons reached their targets, he spoke a single word into his communication system. "Execute." Across the outer solar system, 47 shadow platforms simultaneously dropped their stealth fields and opened fire. The result was devastating beyond anything the Galactic Council forces had imagined possible. Beams of coherent energy that existed partially outside normal spacetime struck their targets with pinpoint accuracy, bypassing defensive shields that had never encountered such exotic physics. The alien flagship Eternal Conquest shuddered as multiple hits penetrated its supposedly impregnable armor. Secondary explosions rippled through the massive vessel as critical systems overloaded. Ambassador Zekthara was thrown from his feet as emergency klaxons wailed throughout the bridge. "Report," he shouted over the chaos. "What's happening?" "Unknown energy signatures appearing throughout the system," his tactical officer replied, his voice tight with panic. Massive weapons platforms completely undetected until they opened fire. "Our sensors show impossible energy readings." High Admiral Thexmore stared at his tactical displays in disbelief. The sophisticated battle computers that had calculated easy victory now showed dozens of human weapons platforms that hadn't existed moments before. Each platform generated energy signatures that exceeded anything in the Galactic Council's technological database. "This is impossible," he snarled. "Our intelligence reports showed no advanced defensive installations. These platforms would require technology centuries beyond human capabilities." What the alien commanders couldn't comprehend was that the shadow platforms represented the accumulated knowledge of multiple alien invasions that humanity had faced and defeated throughout its hidden history. Each victory had yielded technological advances that were carefully studied, improved upon, and incorporated into Earth's secret defensive network. Marcus used the confusion caused by the platform attack to begin his personal assault on the enemy flagship. His insertion vehicle transformed from its asteroid disguise into a high-speed attack craft, accelerating directly toward the Eternal Conquest with engines that bent space-time around their exotic energy fields. "Incoming object on direct collision course," reported the flagship's sensor operator. "Small craft, unknown configuration. It's moving faster than our targeting systems can track." Admiral Thexmore watched the approaching vessel with growing alarm. "Activate point defense systems. Destroy that ship before it reaches us." Dozens of automated weapons turned toward Marcus's craft, filling the space around it with lethal energy bursts and explosive projectiles. But the insertion vehicle's defensive systems had been designed by someone who understood exactly how alien point defense networks operated. It weaved through the incoming fire with impossible precision, each evasive maneuver calculated to exploit gaps in the coverage pattern. At the last possible moment, Marcus ejected from his craft and activated his armor's personal propulsion system. The insertion vehicle continued its trajectory and impacted the flagship's hull with the force of a small nuclear weapon, creating a breach that extended deep into the ship's interior structure. Marcus landed on the hull of the Eternal Conquest and immediately began cutting through the armored plating with his energy sword. The weapon sliced through materials that could withstand direct hits from battleship main guns, opening a path into the ship's interior. His enhanced senses detected atmosphere beyond the hull breach, confirming that the ship's emergency sealing systems had activated. Inside the flagship, emergency teams rushed toward the hull breach while bridge officers tried to understand how a single human in personal armor could pose a threat to their massive vessel. Their sensors detected one life form moving through the ship's corridors with inhuman speed, but the reading seemed impossible for any known species. "Security teams to Deck 7, Admiral Thexmore ordered. Eliminate the intruder immediately." Marcus moved through the ship's interior like a force of nature, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to react faster than the alien crew could think. His armor's tactical systems mapped the ship's layout in real time, identifying critical systems and optimal attack routes with superhuman precision. The first alien security team he encountered fired sophisticated energy weapons that could have vaporized a normal human. Marcus simply wasn't normal. His armor absorbed the energy discharge while his enhanced physiology allowed him to move between the aliens faster than their eyes could track. In seconds, the entire security team lay unconscious, defeated by precisely applied force that left them alive but completely incapacitated. Meanwhile, the Shadow platform attack continued to devastate the Galactic Council fleet. Ships that had seemed invincible moments before now burned in the vacuum of space as their defensive systems proved inadequate against weapons that operated on principles their designers had never imagined. Captain Vasquez stared at her tactical display in amazement as the alien barrage that should have destroyed her fleet simply vanished into nothingness. "What just happened?" "Captain, we're receiving a transmission on emergency frequencies," her communications officer reported. "It's from Earth Defense Command. They're ordering us to maintain position and prepare for coordinated assault." "Coordinated assault?" Captain Vasquez couldn't hide her confusion. "What forces?" "We're all that Earth has." The answer came as additional energy signatures began appearing on her sensors. Hidden throughout the asteroid belt, concealed weapons platforms were revealing themselves and adding their firepower to the devastating attack on the alien fleet. Each platform wielded technology that made Earth's conventional warships seem primitive by comparison. Aboard the Eternal Conquest, Marcus had reached the ship's main computer core. His armor interfaced directly with the alien systems, downloading terabytes of tactical data, while simultaneously introducing viruses that would propagate throughout the fleet's communication network. The technology gap worked both ways. While the aliens possessed superior manufacturing capabilities, Marcus understood their systems better than they understood his. "Security alert," announced the ship's computer in multiple alien languages. "Unauthorized access to primary databases. Core systems compromised." Admiral Thexmore realized with growing horror that his flagship was being systematically taken apart by a single opponent. "All available personnel converge on the computer core. Authorization for lethal force approved." But Marcus had already accomplished his primary objective. The downloaded intelligence would provide Earth strategists with detailed information about Galactic Council military capabilities, ship designs, and strategic plans. More importantly, The viruses he had introduced would begin disrupting fleet coordination at the moment when the aliens most needed unified command. As alien reinforcements converged on his position, Marcus prepared for the next phase of his assault. The energy sword in his hand pulsed with contained power, while his armor's defensive systems charged to maximum output. The cramped corridors of the alien ship would force his opponents to attack in small groups, negating their numerical advantage. "Guardian to Shadow Control," he transmitted. "Phase 1 complete. Initiating Phase 2 of the operation." Dr. Chen's voice responded through the quantum link. "Acknowledged, Marcus. All platforms report successful target elimination. The alien fleet is in chaos." Through the ship's observation ports, Marcus could see the destruction his plan had unleashed. Dozens of Galactic Council vessels burned in space while the surviving ships struggled to reorganize their shattered formations. The supposedly invincible fleet that had conquered hundreds of worlds was learning a harsh lesson about human ingenuity and determination. But Marcus knew the battle was far from over. The aliens still possessed superior numbers and would eventually adapt to humanity's unconventional tactics. Phase 2 of his plan would determine whether Earth's victory would be temporary or complete. Marcus's insertion vehicle drifted silently through the asteroid field at the edge of Earth's solar system, its camouflaged hull indistinguishable from the surrounding space debris. His enhanced senses monitored the massive Galactic Council fleet through passive sensors, cataloging ship types, weapon signatures, and defensive capabilities with the methodical precision of a predator studying its prey. The enemy formation stretched across millions of cubic kilometers, organized in the traditional Galactic Council battle array that had crushed resistance on over 200 worlds. At the center, the massive dreadnought Eternal Conquest served as the command vessel, surrounded by layers of cruisers, destroyers, and support ships. The formation spoke of overwhelming superiority and absolute confidence in victory. Ambassador Zekthara stood on his flagship's bridge, reviewing final preparations for Earth's conquest. His tactical displays showed human military vessels taking defensive positions around their homeworld, a pitiful sight that reinforced his certainty about the coming battle's outcome. "Ambassador, we're detecting increased communications traffic from the human homeworld," his intelligence officer reported. "Their governments appear to be coordinating evacuation procedures for major population centers." "Exactly as expected," Zekthara replied with satisfaction. "Fear is an excellent teacher. Perhaps some humans will survive to serve as useful slaves once they understand the futility of resistance." High Admiral Thexmore gestured toward the tactical display showing Earth's defensive formations. "Their ships are positioning themselves in a traditional orbital defense pattern. Primitive but predictable. Our battle computers estimate total victory within 6 standard hours." What neither alien commander realized was that the human ships they observed represented only a fraction of Earth's true defensive capability. Hidden throughout the outer system, the shadow platforms continued their silent activation sequence, their quantum-masked signatures invisible to even the most sophisticated Galactic Council sensors. Marcus reviewed the intelligence data flowing through his armor's neural interface, his enhanced mind processing tactical possibilities with superhuman speed. The enemy fleet's size was impressive, but their formation revealed crucial weaknesses that he could exploit. Their commanders had never faced an opponent capable of striking from concealment or adapting rapidly to changing battlefield conditions. "Shadow Control, this is Guardian," he transmitted on an encrypted channel that existed outside normal space-time. "All platforms report ready status," Dr. Chen's voice responded through the quantum communication link. "All 47 platforms operational, Marcus. Targeting solutions locked for primary command vessels. Energy reserves at maximum. Hold position until my signal. I want them fully committed to their attack run before we reveal our capabilities." Meanwhile, on Earth's surface, humanity prepared for what most believed would be their final battle. In command centers around the globe, military leaders coordinated defensive measures while knowing their conventional forces stood little chance against the massive alien fleet. The general population remained unaware of Project Guardian, believing their fate rested with the small fleet of human warships now accelerating toward the edge of the solar system. Captain Elena Vasquez commanded the lead human vessel, the battleship Defiance, as it led Earth's defensive fleet toward what appeared to be certain destruction. Her crew worked with grim efficiency, knowing they might be buying time for evacuation efforts rather than achieving actual victory. "Captain, enemy fleet is beginning to advance," her tactical officer reported. "Estimated time to weapons range, 47 minutes. All ships maintain formation," Captain Vasquez ordered through the fleet communication network. "Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting to show these aliens that humanity doesn't surrender." What Captain Vasquez and her fleet didn't know was that their brave advance served a crucial purpose in Marcus's overall strategy. The alien commanders needed to believe they faced only conventional human military forces. The longer Earth's defenders could maintain that illusion, the more devastating the surprise attack would be. Aboard the Eternal Conquest, tactical officers tracked the approaching human fleet with professional interest. The human ships moved with reasonable coordination, and their formation showed basic understanding of military doctrine, but their technological disadvantage was so severe that the outcome seemed predetermined. "Interesting," Admiral Thexmore observed as he studied the tactical displays. "These humans show more courage than most species we've conquered. They must realize their situation is hopeless, yet they continue to advance." "Courage without wisdom," Ambassador Zekthara replied dismissively. "Their leaders have chosen to sacrifice their military forces in a gesture of defiance. We'll honor their bravery by granting them quick deaths." Marcus monitored the enemy communications through his armor's advanced interception systems, noting the condescending tone the alien commanders used when discussing human capabilities. Their arrogance would serve his purposes perfectly. Overconfident enemies made critical mistakes, and Marcus had built his entire strategy around exploiting those inevitable errors. "Shadow Control, begin preliminary targeting for primary strike," he transmitted. "I want firing solutions on their command vessels, primary communication arrays, and fleet coordination centers." "Acknowledged, Guardian. All platforms report target acquisition complete. Awaiting final authorization." The distance between the opposing fleets continued to close as Earth's ships maintained their steady advance toward overwhelming odds. Unknown to both sides, Marcus was already beginning his final approach to the enemy formation, his insertion vehicle following a trajectory that would place him within striking distance of the flagship at the precise moment he initiated the broader attack. His armor systems ran final diagnostic checks on weapons that incorporated technology far beyond current human understanding. The energy sword at his side hummed with contained power that could cut through any known material. His rifle charged with ammunition that existed partially outside normal spacetime, allowing it to penetrate even the most advanced defensive barriers. As the two fleets drew closer, tension mounted on both sides. Human crews prepared for what they believed would be their final battle, while Galactic Council forces anticipated an easy victory that would add another conquered world to their expanding empire. Neither side was prepared for what Marcus had planned. "All units, weapons free in 30 seconds, Admiral Thexmore announced as his fleet reached optimal firing range. "Target human military vessels first, then move to planetary bombardment positions. Make this quick and decisive." Marcus smiled grimly as he monitored the enemy preparations. The aliens were about to learn that humanity's reputation as the most dangerous species in the galaxy hadn't been earned through superior technology or overwhelming numbers. It had been earned through the willingness of individual humans to face impossible odds and emerge victorious through sheer determination and tactical brilliance. "Shadow Control, all platforms stand by for synchronized strike," Marcus transmitted as his insertion vehicle reached its final attack position. "On my mark, we remind the galaxy why humanity has never been conquered." The fate of Earth hung in the balance as two vastly different concepts of warfare prepared to collide in the cold darkness of space. Marcus sat up slowly, his enhanced nervous system rapidly processing 3,000 years of accumulated data from the facility's monitoring systems. His body moved with fluid precision despite the extended stasis, genetically modified muscle fibers responding instantly to neural commands. The chamber's medical sensors showed readings that would have been impossible for any baseline human. Bone density equivalent to reinforced steel, reaction times measured in microseconds, and cellular regeneration rates that could heal grievous wounds in minutes. "Status report." His voice carried an authority that seemed to resonate through the reinforced walls of the facility. "Even after millennia in stasis, Marcus spoke with the confidence of someone who had commanded armies across multiple star systems. Dr. Chen activated a holographic display showing the current tactical situation. 47 Galactic Council species have positioned their fleets in Earth's outer system. They've given us 72 hours to surrender unconditionally. Their preliminary scans suggest they believe we're a primitive, defenseless civilization. Marcus studied the hologram with interest, his enhanced cognitive abilities processing fleet formations and ship configurations with the speed of a military supercomputer. Their formation suggests they expect no resistance. Classic intimidation deployment. They're treating this as a police action rather than a military engagement. Our intelligence suggests they've conquered over 200 worlds using similar tactics, Dr. Chen continued. Species after species has submitted rather than faced the combined might of their confederation. They've never encountered organized resistance. Rising from the stasis chamber, Marcus accepted the combat armor that had been prepared for his awakening. The suit appeared deceptively simple, resembling advanced tactical gear rather than the technological marvel it truly was. Built using principles that current human science barely understood, it enhanced his already formidable capabilities while providing protection against weapons that could level mountains. Have they made any attempt at actual communication? Marcus asked as the armor's system synchronized with his enhanced physiology. Nothing beyond demands for surrender. Ambassador Zekthara of the Voidian Empire seems to be leading the operation. Their species has a reputation for treating conquered worlds as military training grounds for their warrior castes. Marcus nodded grimly. The name meant nothing to him, but the pattern was familiar. Throughout his long existence, he had encountered numerous species that believed superior technology and numbers guaranteed victory. They never seemed to understand that warfare was ultimately about will, adaptation, and the refusal to accept defeat. Above ground, panic gripped Earth's major population centers as people struggled to comprehend their situation. The massive alien vessels hovering at the edge of their solar system represented a threat beyond anything in human experience. News networks broadcast continuous coverage of the unfolding crisis, while world leaders attempted to maintain order and prepare defensive measures that seemed pitifully inadequate. General Patricia Wong stood in the war room beneath the Pentagon, surrounded by screens displaying Earth's military assets. As Supreme Commander of Earth Defense Forces, she understood better than most how outmatched humanity appeared to be. Their most advanced warships were barely larger than the alien escort vessels, and their weapons technology seemed primitive by comparison. "Ma'am, we're receiving a priority transmission from Deep Mountain," her aide reported. "Authentication codes confirmed. Project Guardian is active." General Wong felt a surge of hope despite the desperate circumstances. Project Guardian represented humanity's most closely guarded secret, known only to a handful of world leaders and military commanders. The existence of Marcus and the true extent of human capabilities had been hidden for centuries, waiting for a threat that justified revealing the truth. "Put me through to Dr. Chen," she ordered. The secure communication link crackled to life, showing Dr. Chen's face on the main screen. Behind her, General Wong could see movement in the facility's command center, as technicians prepared equipment that seemed to glow with its own inner light. "General, Marcus is fully operational and receiving final briefings," Dr. Chen reported. "His physical condition is optimal, and all enhancement systems are functioning within normal parameters. He's requesting immediate tactical data on the alien fleet." "Transmission incoming," General Wong replied, authorizing the data transfer. "Guardian has full authorization for Operation Last Stand. All human military assets are at his disposal." In the Deep Mountain facility, Marcus reviewed the incoming intelligence with growing satisfaction. The Galactic Council forces had positioned themselves exactly as he would have expected from an overconfident enemy. Their flagship formations protected important vessels while leaving smaller ships exposed. Their communication patterns suggested rigid command hierarchies that would collapse if key leaders were eliminated. "Dr. Chen, I'll need access to the orbital defense platforms," Marcus said, studying the tactical displays, the ones that don't appear on any public records. "Already prepared, Marcus. The Shadow Network has been dormant for 800 years, but all systems are operational. 47 concealed platforms positioned throughout the outer system, each one equipped with weapons based on technology recovered from your previous campaigns." Marcus smiled at that information. During his active years, he had gathered considerable intelligence about potential alien threats, including weapons technology from species that had attempted to invade Earth in humanity's distant past. That knowledge had been carefully preserved and improved upon, creating defensive systems that the current attackers couldn't possibly anticipate. Excellent. Begin activation sequence for all shadow platforms. I want them powered but maintaining stealth until I give the signal. Meanwhile, aboard the Galactic Council flagship, Ambassador Zek Thara reviewed reports from his intelligence-gathering teams with growing impatience. The humans were responding exactly as expected. Panic, desperate communications between their primitive governments, and pathetic attempts to organize defensive measures. Admiral, their largest military vessels are beginning to deploy, reported his tactical officer. 53 ships total, none exceeding 200 meters in length. Their weapons appear to be chemical explosives and primitive energy projectors. High Admiral Thexmore laughed, a sound like grinding metal. 53 ships against our fleet of over 1,000? This will barely qualify as target practice for our junior officers. What they couldn't detect were the shadow platforms slowly coming online throughout the outer system. Built using principles of dimensional folding and quantum camouflage, the platforms remained invisible to conventional sensors, while their weapon systems charged to full power. Each platform carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon, and they had been positioned with mathematical precision to create overlapping fields of fire. Marcus completed his final equipment checks and moved toward the facility's launch bay. The insertion vehicle waiting for him resembled a small asteroid, its surface covered in materials that would make it invisible to enemy sensors. Inside, however, it contained propulsion systems capable of accelerating to significant fractions of light speed and weapons that could penetrate any known defensive technology. Marcus, Dr. Chen called out as he prepared to depart. Remember, the entire planet is counting on you. If this fails, it won't fail, Marcus replied with quiet confidence. Humanity has survived worse than this. These aliens are about to learn why our species has never been conquered, despite facing threats from across the galaxy. As his insertion vehicle launched from the hidden facility, Marcus felt the familiar surge of anticipation that came before battle. 3,000 years of stasis hadn't diminished his warrior's instincts or his absolute commitment to protecting humanity. The Galactic Council forces had made a critical error in their assessment of Earth's capabilities, and Marcus intended to demonstrate the consequences of that mistake in the most decisive way possible. The war for Earth's freedom was about to begin, and humanity's oldest guardian was ready to remind the galaxy why humans had earned their reputation as the most dangerous species in known space. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with the nervous energy of 1,000 different species, their various forms of communication, creating a symphony of clicks, hisses, and electronic translations. Ambassador Zek Thara of the Voidian Empire adjusted his ceremonial battle scars with pride as he addressed the assembly. His forearms gestured dramatically, each movement calculated to display the warrior heritage that had conquered 17 star systems. Fellow beings of the galaxy, his voice boomed through the translation matrix. Today we discuss the final integration of the human homeworld called Earth. Our preliminary scans show a primitive species that has barely achieved interstellar travel. They possess no warrior caste, no battle-tested fleets, and certainly no champions worthy of our respect. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. The Krillian representative, resembling a massive crystalline spider, tapped her legs in approval. Indeed, Ambassador. Our intelligence reports show humans spend more time fighting amongst themselves over resources than developing proper military doctrine. They are soft, divided, and weak. High Admiral Thexmore of the Draconian Fleet stood, his reptilian features gleaming under the chamber's harsh lights. The human military forces we've observed are laughably primitive. Their largest vessels are barely the size of our escort frigates. Their weapons technology is centuries behind ours. This integration will be swift and bloodless. What the assembled galactic powers didn't know was that their intelligence gathering had been deliberately limited. Humanity had allowed certain observations while carefully concealing others. The scattered conflicts they witnessed were indeed real, but they represented only the surface layer of human capability. Deep beneath the Earth, in facilities that predated recorded history, something far older than any current human government slumbered. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the sterile observation deck of the Deep Mountain Research Facility, watching technicians perform final diagnostics on equipment that hummed with barely contained energy. The facility stretched down through 12 levels of reinforced titanium and quantum-stable materials, each level more classified than the last. At the very bottom, behind barriers that could withstand a direct nuclear strike, lay the reason humanity had never truly feared the approaching galactic forces. "Status report," she called out to her team, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what they were preparing. "Biosignature stable at level 12. Doctor," replied Lieutenant Morrison, his eyes never leaving the cascading data on his screens. "All containment protocols are green. The subject shows no signs of premature awakening." Dr. Chen nodded, her mind racing through the implications of what they were about to do. The being they monitored had been in stasis for over 3,000 years, placed there not by any human technology, but by its own choice. The legends called him many names across different cultures: the Eternal Warrior, the Undying Guardian, the First Soldier. Ancient texts spoke of a time when humanity faced extinction from forces beyond the stars, and how one man had stood against impossible odds, wielding power that defied comprehension. The official records listed him as Subject Zero, but those who knew the truth called him Marcus. He had volunteered for an experimental program during humanity's darkest hour, accepting modifications that pushed the boundaries of what human physiology could endure. The process had succeeded beyond all expectations, creating something that was still recognizably human but possessed capabilities that bordered on the mythical. Above ground, world leaders gathered in emergency session as the first Galactic Council ships appeared at the edge of the solar system. The sleek vessels, each one larger than Earth's moon, took position with military precision. Their very presence sent shockwaves through human civilization as people realized they were no longer alone in the universe. President Martinez of the United Earth Coalition addressed the planet from the Emergency Command Center beneath Geneva. "Citizens of Earth, we stand at a crossroads in human history. We have been contacted by representatives of what they call the Galactic Council. They claim to offer membership in their confederation, but their terms amount to nothing less than complete subjugation." The transmission crackled with interference as Galactic Council jamming systems attempted to disrupt human communications. "We have prepared for this day," the president continued. "Our response will demonstrate that humanity bows to no one." In the depths of the Deep Mountain facility, alarms began to sound as the awakening protocol initiated. Dr. Chen watched as ancient systems that humanity had spent decades learning to operate began their carefully programmed sequence. Energy readings spiked across the facility as dormant neural pathways reconnected, and cellular regeneration accelerated to impossible speeds. "Doctor, we're seeing movement in the stasis chamber," Morrison reported, his voice tight with anticipation. "Brain activity is increasing exponentially, heart rate climbing to combat parameters." Through the reinforced observation window, Dr. Chen could see the figure in the chamber beginning to stir. Even in stasis, Marcus appeared formidable. Standing nearly 7 feet tall, his physique showed the results of genetic modifications that had enhanced every aspect of human physical capability. Scars covered his visible skin, each one a testament to battles fought in humanity's forgotten wars. The galactic forces above remained unaware of what stirred beneath the Earth's surface. Their sensors detected only the expected signs of a frightened primitive civilization. Increased communications traffic, military units moving to defensive positions, and the frantic launch of what appeared to be evacuation vessels. Ambassador Zekthara stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Conquest, watching Earth's pale blue surface with satisfaction. "Begin broadcasting the surrender ultimatum," he commanded. "Make it clear that resistance will only result in unnecessary casualties. These humans will learn to appreciate the order we bring to their chaotic little world." The message transmitted across all human communication frequencies carried the weight of absolute authority. "Attention inhabitants of the third planet. You are commanded to cease all military activities and prepare for integration into the Galactic Council. Any attempt at resistance will be considered an act of war against the united forces of 47 star systems. You have 72 standard hours to comply." What the Galactic Council couldn't know was that their 72-hour ultimatum had given humanity exactly the time needed to complete the awakening sequence. In the deepest chamber of the Deep Mountain facility, Marcus opened his eyes for the first time in 3 millennia. The ancient warrior's gaze held the accumulated weight of battles fought across the stars, victories won against impossible odds, and a determination that had been forged in the crucible of humanity's darkest age. Dr. Chen leaned forward as the stasis field dissipated. "Welcome back, Marcus. Humanity needs its guardian once more.